We're going to start from the base position, showing what the proper base position is, what the proper arm positioning is, what the proper wrist positioning is, and then we're going to show some drills to practice this. Your base position in water polo is the position you should start from every time you have the ball, whether faking, passing, or shooting. Your legs and left arm should act like a tripod, with your left arm out to the left, your left leg straight down, and your right leg slightly out to the right. Your chest should be slightly angled downwards so that you're leaning forward. As you face the goal, your shoulders should not be parallel to it, but rather rotated 30 to 45 degrees. Your throwing shoulder should be pinched, your elbow should be at the same height as your ear, and your wrist should be bent backwards facing the goal. Here are some common mistakes for base position. A common mistake with base position is the tendency to over-rotate. A lot of people have their left shoulder pointed towards the direction of the goal. The extra rotation during the shooting motion will lead to an inconsistent release point, which in turn leads to inaccuracy. Also, the release time is delayed, giving the goalie more time to react. Another common mistake is the tendency to put your legs too far underneath your shooting arm. As a result, when you accelerate with your legs, you will be moving laterally and will not be able to fully use your body to generate power. This also leads to inconsistency in your throw and the inability to vary your release point. Laying on your back is another mistake that is committed in the base position. While it may be easier and less tiring, it does not allow you to engage your core in the finishing part of your release. This leads to overshooting your target and inaccurate throwing. Your leg positioning gives you the ability to elevate without affecting your upper body. You're trying to open up your legs as much as possible. Your left leg takes most of the up and down load. The right leg takes care of the lateral movement. So the left leg pushes you up, while the right leg acts more like a directional rudder. Once your legs are in position, you want to slightly lean forward. You want your chest to be facing down towards the bottom of the pool. This will allow you, when you accelerate with your legs, for your momentum to be transferred forward into your shooting motion, which will generate more power into your shot. Leaning forward puts you off balance, so it's very important that your left hand is sculling to prevent you from falling forward. Also, you should start from a position that is parallel to the goal and rotate your shoulders by roughly 30 to 45 degrees. Your elbow has to be at the same height as your ear. With your shoulder pinched, your elbow should always be behind the line of your shoulders. If you imagine a parallel line running between your shoulders, your elbow should always be behind it. This is where shoulder flexibility is very important. A common mistake is people tend to over-rotate with their body in order to make up for their lack of flexibility. Your wrist should be facing the goal at all times, independently of how far back or forward your arm is. This allows you to complete a full wrist motion at the end of your passing or shooting motion, which allows you to generate the most power with your wrist. The wrist is the finishing part of your shot, and it's crucial for the accuracy and consistency of your shot. The proper wrist position is that the wrist should always be facing the person you're passing it to or the goal. This allows you to use your full wrist motion from all the way back at 90 degrees to all the way forward, which allows you to generate the maximum power with your wrist and to be consistent. You want to push forward in your finishing motion with all 5 fingers at the same time. Some of the most common mistakes with the wrist positioning are the tendency to over-rotate the wrist and turn the wrist over on the side instead of having the wrist always facing the goal or the person to whom you're passing. This leads to extra rotation that you need as you go into your passing or shooting motion, which leads to inconsistency. Now we will show you proper throwing form in full speed. Notice how in the start position, the wrist is facing forward, the elbow is at the same height as the ear, the left hand is slightly out in front, the shoulder is pinched, and the chest is leaning forward. When rising to shoot, the base position does not change until the throwing motion starts. It begins with a hard breaststroke kick, followed by internal rotation of the shoulder, and ends with a snap of the wrist and follow through. Now I'm going to talk about some drills that can help you practice your base position. First, holding the ball in position and staying in the proper base position that we just talked about, You walk down the pool for 25 meters and repeat it in the other direction. The most important part about the drill is that your position does not change as you're moving forward. People have the tendency to over-rotate because you can move faster. You have to force yourself to stay in the proper base position with the proper shoulder rotation and the correct leg positioning for the entire lap. Another excellent drill is walking down the pool with the ball in position, egg beatering up and accelerating with your legs at every block or any type of marker you like to set. The point of this drill is to learn to separate your legs from your upper body. So when you accelerate with your legs at a given marker, your upper body should not move. Our last drill is egg beatering down the pool in the base position. You egg beater up to about 80%, then you give it a hard breaststroke kick in order to reach the maximum height where you should be releasing the ball. The proper internal rotation motion of the shoulder can strongly accelerate your release time and significantly increase the amount of power you can put on the ball. When you properly incorporate internal rotation into your shooting motion, it allows you to greatly speed up your release time. Timing is extremely important when shooting in water polo, so the ability to accelerate a certain point in your motion allows you to steal time from the goalie and be able to beat him. In order to practice your internal rotation, you need to first isolate it. In order to isolate it, you want to be parallel to the person you're passing it. You want to have the elbow at the same height as your shoulder. You want to start with the ball backwards, your wrist bent, and then you can just follow your internal rotation forward, nice and slow, until the ball touches the water in front of you. After you've repeated the drill 3 or 4 times, pass the ball to your partner using the same internal rotation motion and fully extending your wrist. Your main concern is that at the end of the passing motion, your elbow is not in front of the line of your shoulders. Here are some drills to practice the proper wrist motion and release. In the first drill, you stay outside the pool and with your shoulders parallel to the wall, you're just releasing the ball over and over again in the same way. The important thing is that your wrist is facing the wall and you bend your wrist all the way back and all the way forward. It is also important that the release point and the release off your fingers is the same every time. The next drill is walking down the pool and egg beatering, passing the ball from hand to hand using only your wrists. In this drill, the speed in the passing between the two hands is not important. You want to concentrate on bringing the wrist all the way backwards and all the way forwards as you go to pass, and that the wrists are facing each other. You are working on having the same release every time you pass the ball. This video will not make you a better shooter by itself. By watching this and by going home in your pool and trying it once or twice, it's not gonna make you a better shooter. It's up to you to go and repeat these drills over and over again until they become a natural motion for you. The most important thing that I would like people to take from this video is the amount of effort and attention of details that is required to become a good shooter.